An award is something which is a recognition of the good work done by the recipient. It is an incentive for others to do some good work. Now, in instituting these awards, Menon Institute of Legal Advocacy and Training and the Society of Indian Law Firms obviously intended to achieve both these purposes. They also deserve the congratulations. Now, when I attend the Law Teachers' Day, necessarily I must start this address by making at least a reference to the names of some of those great teachers who were responsible, who laid the foundation for my legal knowledge, which is the basis for my being at a place where I am today. Two of them, late Professor B.S. Murthy, who was the head of the department of Andhra University Law College those days when I was a student, and late Professor Gopal Krishna Shastri, who taught me, maybe thousands of others, taught us constitutional law. These are the two teachers of law whom I must remember always, addressing any gathering of law students or law teachers. They were great teachers. The law colleges those days, I'm sure the elders in the gathering would know, but the younger generation, they might also still know, because they are still in existence, they continue. They are not those wonderful campuses like the Bangalore Law School or Hyderabad Law School. They were parts of some traditional university. They're very average building. Some of them equipped with good libraries, of course. Andhra University, we had a reasonably good library for a law school those days. I'm sure, Professor, you should have visited the Andhra University Law School library part of it. Now, but point is, there were a limited number of law colleges those days. I think by the time I entered the law college in 1973 in Andhra Pradesh, the old Andhra Pradesh, the present Andhra Pradesh also now, there were only 2 law colleges and 1 evening college in Hyderabad those days. Now Hyderabad itself has, I don't know how many. At least on the date when I became a judge in 1997, there were some 23 or 24 law colleges functioning in Hyderabad city. And it so happened by an accident, the very first judgment I had to pen as a judge of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, sitting with the then Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh. Incidentally, he was the Chief Justice who recommended my name for elevation. The very first judgment, we had to direct the closure of some 12 law colleges. It was it was a litigation initiated by the Bar Council of India. A letter was written by the Secretary to the Bar Council of India to the Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh, complaining that some of these law colleges are functioning from the car garages. And then, some verification was done, a commission was appointed, and there was some truth found in the complaint. Eventually, that was the very first judgment I ever penned in my life. No, but the issue is this: the number of law colleges has tremendously increased. What are the causes for this docket explosion in the Supreme Court? The standard answer is, brother, the quality of the high courts is going down, therefore there is a need to. Well, whether the answer for improving the system is it for the Supreme Court to correct every error committed by every high court in every case, or there is another way of doing it, or do we check up our recruitment process to the high courts? They're all different matters, not for this meeting. But the fact remains, there is some doubt about the quality of adjudication. Similarly, when I sit in the court hall, when I look at the legislation in some of these cases, the quality of the legislation leaves me distressed sometimes. It just doesn't make any sense. And sometimes it's so vague and imprecise that it's even confusing to judges of the Supreme Court. Judges of the Supreme Court, I'm not saying because of somebody after becoming a Supreme Court suddenly acquires great deal of wisdom. But by the time somebody comes to this court, each one of us would have put in some 30, 35, 40 years of study of law in whatever capacity as law students, lawyers, judges. Even at that stage, if the legislation is so confusing to the mind, apparently there is some difficulty in the legislative drafting process in this country. And I believe, I was a law officer before I became a judge in Andhra Pradesh in 97. Legislative drafting is one area which is totally neglected in this country. Barring an occasional foreign trip, occasionally, I remember the law secretary in charge of the legislative drafting periodically is sent to UK or one of those Commonwealth countries for a short 30 days or 20 days or 40 days course. Beyond that, no systematic approach, systematic procedure by which people are really trained in legislative drafting. These are all various problems which are required to be examined. In fact, when we are talking about research in law, apart from the changing trends in law, apart from the modern developments in law, this is one area which perhaps is really required to be researched, and some report is required in this matter if we want to really rectify the system.